Welcome back to the Friday Matinee here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Normally you get to hear me say, I am T, and then you hear a man across the desk say, I'm George. I have no George today. I am Georgeless. My George has gone off to points unknown to take care of important business, family, I believe, and he will be back here with me next Friday, and he'll be back in his rolly chair for the morning show next Tuesday. You're going to hear me, my dulcet tones, next Monday morning, and not George. With me in the studio, though, I am not alone. I have a guest with me. Do you have a young girl in your life, somebody you love very much? Are you a young girl? Anything's possible. Project Inspired. Have you heard about it? Project Inspired is a website, and it is the largest online community of Christian teen girls. And the author of the book by the same name is here today with me. Nicole Weeder has a book signing tomorrow night at Barnes & Noble Valencia. This is taking place at 7 p.m. You know where Barnes & Noble is, 23630 Valencia Boulevard. She'll be there tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and you will have the opportunity to learn more about her book, which is entitled Project Inspired, Tips and Tricks for Staying True to Who You Are. Hello, Nicole, and welcome to the Friday Matinee.
Hi, Teresa. Thank you for having me on the show.
Okay, so I've read through the book. You see, I have a copy, and it's filled with Post-it notes, and I read it with my daughter, who's going to be 23, and I love the idea that your book, first of all, I have to mention one of the things I found, I love your phrase, fierce and faithful, living a life that looks great on the outside and feels even better on the inside. Now, you're no stranger to looking good. You're a gorgeous girl. You were a model and actress, and then somewhere along the line, you became the founder of, again, the largest online community of Christian girls. How did you come to this? You started in the industry, right, when you were young?
Yes, I moved down to Los Angeles when I was 16 years old from my small town of Salem, Oregon, and immediately I was so excited to be a model, but my agent told me, you're not skinny enough to do high fashion. No matter how thin you get, your body type is curvy, and so my agent started booking me for lingerie and swimwear, and at first I didn't want to do that, but I moved down here and I uprooted my whole family, and so I started booking some, pretty sexy jobs, and I was posing for Maxim, and I was a body double for Victoria's Secret, and so I was placing my worth and my identity in what the modeling industry wanted me to do.
Now, where did you come to modeling? Did you have people in your life when you were young, or did you have people that you looked up to in magazines or television or film? Where did that come from? What sparked that desire? One, you're beautiful, and I could see where people would come to you and say, oh, this girl should be in pictures. But what was the drive for you at 16? I got to tell you, a lot of kids are happy sitting on the sofa, and they're happy, pretty much just watching television.
Yeah.
And somewhere there was something inside of you that said, oh, not only can I do this, I'm going to do this. What was the inspiration for you? Who was the inspiration?
Well, I would say definitely the inspiration was coming from myself. Ever since I was 6 years old, I've always loved performing in front of the camera and entertaining people, and I started working when I was really young, and my first big job was when I was only 14 years old, and I was in 8th grade, and I was booked for a major radio station in Portland called Z100, and I was on a big billboard on the I-5 freeway, and it was so interesting because they were marketing me as a sexy woman who went on a date.
Now, did you have a parent, a family member, someone who was, again, you can't do this when you're a little kid. Someone had to help you.
Yeah, my mom was very supportive of me. She was the one who was driving me to castings and, taking me downtown. But
had she had any experience in this before?
No, not at all.
And she was young too.
Yeah, my mom had me when she was 16, and so
so this all was very exciting, I'm sure, for both of you.
It was, yeah, and she was very supportive, and ultimately it wasn't that hard to convince her to move down to LA from Oregon because she wanted a change.
LA's LA.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of enticing.
A lot of people will go, oh yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, it's fun here. But
so you were driving that bus basically at 16.
I was.
Oh, and that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, I was. And so one of the main reasons why I kind of had a nervous breakdown was because I did uproot my entire family to California. And so when I wasn't booking work as a model, I felt a lot of pressure on me to...
You were carrying the load.
Yeah, I was. It was a lot of pressure on me to book work. And, my mom would constantly remind me that, she uprooted my entire family down here and I had to make it work no matter what. And
wow. Even your own boss will tell you,
exactly. She loved me. She loves me and she's very supportive.
But it had to happen.
Yes, it had to exactly. It had to happen. And so when I was 18, she moved out of the country. So I was in California and basically the U.S. by myself. And so I moved out on my own. And obviously, rent in LA is very expensive. And so I was booking
and
basically...
you were 18. You weren't fully cooked yet.
No. I was 18.
I have two of those at home. Yeah. And they weren't cooked at 18.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, especially in today's society. So...
And in that world.
Especially in the modeling industry. Yeah.
And everything about you had to be based on who you were on the outside.
Yes, exactly. And so I had to take as much work as possible. And I signed with an agency and they told me that my body type was too curvy to do high fashion, but I was perfect for lingerie and swimwear. And so I was booking these jobs that was making me feel really humiliated and degraded as a person, because here I was on set wearing just a bra and underwear and people were critiquing me, and then my pictures would be totally airbrushed, and I was just thinking...
And you're a kid.
Yeah, I was young, and I was just thinking, no matter how thin I get or how clear my face is or whatever, because the agents pick you apart, I'm never going to be, perfect enough to do, any kind of like high fashion modeling. And so...
to this point, your education had mostly been the jobs you'd already done.
Yes.
The jobs they were sending you on. And you had a manager or an agent at any rate. But did you have a manager or anyone else besides that agent giving you advice? Or?
No, actually, that's funny.
So it's you.
It was just me. I was just surviving, basically. And so... I was so excited when I did the Victoria's Secret commercial just as a body double, because here I was, it was like a huge deal, to meet these supermodels. But then when I was on set, I took a break, and one of the photographer's assistants was retouching the models' pictures like in real time. And he was telling me, I retouch all of these pictures very heavily. And I couldn't believe it, because here in person were these beautiful supermodels, and, they were gorgeous naturally, but their pictures were being so retouched. And I just was like, I have to tell people this. Like, this message is really dangerous for young women, and it was really shocking for me.
Now, at some point, were you on the phone? Because you said mom moved out of the country, and she was essentially momager before she left. Mm-hmm. Were you calling her and saying, Mom, you have no idea what I'm up against here. You already had the pressure before for the whole family.
Yes.
Now it's just you. And it's your dream. It's what you want to do. It's the only thing you want to do, and you're not getting a lot of support.
Yes, exactly. It was really hard because I was calling her from California, but she was on an island called American Samoa, so the time difference was really crazy, and it was hard to get a hold of her. It was very hard to communicate. And when I did talk to her, I'm not trying to bash my mom. She's an amazing person.
No. But trust me. Let me tell you something now, because I know you're a mom. I know you have a little one.
Yeah.
And one of the first things I said to my kids as soon as they could hear the sound of my voice was, here's the deal. I'm going to make mistakes because I've never done this before. And your mom had you before she went on to have your siblings. Yes. She had you, and you were, I said to my daughter very early, I have news for you. If I was a farmer who never had cows before and somebody brought me a cow, well, I'm going to do the best I can, but I'm probably going to mess you up. You're going to be eating chicken feed. But you know what? You're going to survive.
Yes.
You're going to get through this. Mm-hmm. So, no, I don't consider it mom bashing, but the idea that for you and for this person who's trying to send this wagon out into the world that really doesn't have all its contents.
Yes, exactly.
And you had to do all of it. Did you have any other relatives or just anybody?
No, I didn't have, and I didn't grow up with a dad. Like, I had no father. So I was really by myself. And one of the mistakes that I made was, in order to survive, I was getting in relationships with really, bad men. And I was really settling for just being treated poorly. But it was because I was surviving.
Guidance,
I was looking for guidance. I was looking for support, for help. Yeah, for help. I was looking for support. And so one of my testimonies that I talk about in this book is for girls to never settle for being treated badly, because we're all so beautiful and blessed, and we're precious in the eyes of God. And the media and magazines try to tell girls that their only appeal is in how beautiful they are or how sexy they are.
Right? How do we stop that? How do we make them stop?
Well, because I try to do it through my online website, Project Inspired, where I talk about, faith and that every woman is beautiful just the way they are, and we all have natural talents and abilities, and that's my central message, is to inspire young women. But I also talk about that in my book, which is out now. So,
and the book, she's going to have a book signing tomorrow, Barnes & Noble book signing. This is taking place tomorrow at 7 p.m. on our only Barnes & Noble on Valencia Boulevard. Now, the book, I love that the book you cover everything. One of the first things you ask is what does it mean to live a project-inspired life? And you kind of lay it out, and you don't just deal with the outside. There is a lot to true beauty and your wardrobe essentials and your look, and there's a lot of fun stuff. But and skincare, certainly, I can tell you from personal experience and my kids. Well, who do they not want skincare advice from? Their parents, because it's mortifying. And you think, hello, we look in the mirror, we know what we look like. We don't need you to give us advice. But the idea that you're coming in because you're not that far removed from the girls you're talking to, so you know what they need to have. So I love that you do that.
Thank
give
you.
them a little bit about friendships, which is critically important, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. I love that you included a chapter on etiquette.
Oh,
the idea that navigating entertainment, guarding your mind and body. There's a lot of really great advice in here. The idea that you have friendships. It was a friendship that turned your life around, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
You had a rough time in school.
I had a rough time because I transferred high schools in the middle of high school, and so it was really hard to fit in because I was transferring from a small town in Oregon to LA when I was a junior. And so I was so lucky because I was in a drama class, and my friend, who would later become my best friend, and now we've been best friends for 15 years, she's the one who was really supportive and loving and kind, and she told me, she just kind of took me in her circle of friends.
Now, did you have good close friendships up north?
I did, but it was based on athletics, and
because you were very athletic.
Yeah, I was into basketball and volleyball, and so it was like based on our athletics. And so also I didn't play sports when I transferred because you can't just automatically become on the team. You have to start from the bottom, and so I wasn't involved in sports at my new school, and so I didn't really have a group to fit into, and so I was so lucky that she kind of was really kind and welcoming to me. And she ultimately, later on, when I struggled with depression, she's the one who was there for me and stuck by me through it all. And she's the one who told me about God, and that God had a purpose for my life, and that everything I went through can be used for God's glory. So she's amazing. Now,
your website, it says it's the largest online community of Christian girls. But how do you feel about just girls of faith? Because your advice is good for everybody. One, not just for young girls, but really for everyone.
Exactly. I cover all topics that teenage girls want to know about, such as dating and beauty and relationships and friends. And so, because ultimately, Jesus is the one who saved my life because I wasn't raised with any religion. And so I became a Christian because that's what I felt was what I was called to do, and Jesus was the one who saved me. But I wanted to create a resource for all teen girls to find inspiration from. And that's why I cover way more than just Christianity. I cover everything that teen girls want to know about, because I was looking online for a place where I could find inspiration through, Bible messages, but also for, because it's okay, and I talk about that in my book, it's okay to care about fashion and beauty and makeup. And so I wanted to cover all of those different issues that teen girls want to know about.
And because I have a question, one of your big messages is about being modest.
Yeah.
Was it exciting for you to come to that because you came to it late because you were in an industry that was all about showing the goodies, showing what you got. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And do you find it now more exciting? Do you find it prohibitive when you first started to come to modesty yourself? How was that for you?
Yeah. So one of the reasons, and one of the things why I realize now, going through that, it's important to be modest, is because I lived the lifestyle of showing it all off and posing in lingerie and swimwear, because that's what I was supposed to do, and that's what I had to do to survive. And so I realized that my value came from my heart and who I was as a person, not in my body. And so I wanted to share that message and that hope with teen girls to know that they don't have to show it all off, because even if they get attention, that's just temporary. And, you want a guy to respect you for your values and your heart and your mind. And so I want to tell girls that it's better to, it's okay to care about fashion, and I cover that. It's okay to want to dress nice and to keep up with the latest styles, but it's more classy to dress in a modest way, because ultimately that's what will get you the right attention.
Now, you've written this book. You have 2 books out. This is your second book signing tomorrow, Barnes & Noble, 7 p.m. here in Valencia. And some of this came to you because of maybe some, from the book, some bullying in school, and certainly bullying in the industry where professionals were telling you weren't good enough. And I think it's wonderful that you've created this foundation for young girls. I'm curious, now that you're a wife and a mother, are you going to age out of this bracket? And because I have a feeling the story's not done. And I think the next book, for what I see for your future, is for the moms or women of a mature place to kind of recover what maybe they didn't get when they were young. Because you've kind of done that. You've kind of made up for some of that and made a better world for the next kid, which I think is everybody's goal.
Yeah.
To make it better for the ones who are here now. Yeah. So is that the next
Yeah,
step?
that's such a great question, because that's entirely correct. I'm going to, although I feel like this season of my life was to reach out to young teen girls, because when I was a teen, that's when I started to go downhill and make a lot of mistakes. And so I felt like I wanted to warn these girls that, there's a better path, and there's, you don't have to make the same mistakes as I did. And so I feel like there's always going to be a special place in my heart for reaching teen girls, because I feel like God is calling me to do that. But also, it's funny, I started Project Inspired 5 years ago, which doesn't sound like that long, but for a website, it's getting
and
up there.
And in your 20s, 5 years is huge.
What?
Huge. In your 20s,
yeah,
5 years is a lot.
Exactly.
30s, 40s, it's,
exactly. Yeah, no,
this
yes,
time.
Totally. And so I've had these teen girls grow up with me, and so some of them started when they were, young teen, and now they're 18, 19, going to college. And so exactly, I want to do an evolution. Like I wanted I want to reach college age women, and then moms, because you're right, I'm a mom now to a 2-year-old named Elijah. And so
now God gave you a boy.
Yeah.
And you give a lot of dating advice and a lot of advice for young women, the men not to settle for, what to wait for. Are you gonna write a book for the boys' view? How to be the man that a woman needs to have in their life? Because this is this lesson you're going to teach your son, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a whole new ball field.
I know, it's so funny that God blessed me with a boy. But I totally agree with that. I think it's necessary. And also, I have experience with that, because once I became a Christian, I had new requirements for what I wanted in a godly man. And so I know the characteristics that I think a man should have in order to have a loving wife and to have a successful marriage. And so I feel...
is your couples book coming?
I know. I think there should be. I think there should be. It's because I think there should be. It's always needed.
Right? Because it's not, you have to be evenly yoked. You can't be the one side.
That's so true. So I feel like that's a message that really needs to be shared. So I really feel like the future is very open. I mean, everyone's future is open, but I feel like I have a lot to share. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still experiencing. And my passion is reaching young people. And I have a gift, I think, of giving people hope and encouragement. And so I want to always be doing that with my life, whether I'm reaching college-age women or mothers, so I'm really excited to see what opportunities come from this.
We have about a minute left. If your son comes to you and says, "Mommy, I want to be a model." What? It's a little different for boys.
Yes.
But would you discourage him from being in the business? Or I want to be an actor?
Well, for boys as models, I would say yes, I would discourage them, because even for boys as models, I know it's not about the money, but sometimes it is. And boys don't even get paid as much as girls do for modeling.
You were carrying the load for your entire family, it was about the money.
It was, exactly, it was. And so I would say for boys modeling, definitely don't do it, because there's a lot of pressure. And
you have to be be perfect.
You have to be
just as
perfect. And there's too much, it's crazy. There's so much competition for modeling. Like, you go to a casting and there's 30 other people that have similar looks, they're tall brunette with brown eyes. Like, it's just a cattle call. And so I would say, though, for acting, there's definitely a lot more opportunities to be creative and to do different roles. And I would say entertaining and acting is much different than entertaining as a model. So I would say that's great.
Well, if you have a young girl, take them tomorrow to Barnes & Noble, 7 p.m. There's a book signing for Project Inspired. The author, Nicole Weeder, will be there. She is the founder of the largest online community of Christian girls. We'll be back in a minute. You're with the Friday Matinee.